It's become very expensive to watch the NBA as a fan, not just going to games, but also to, in order to, there's different streaming services you have to subscribe to. Some of the RSNs are expensive. I'm curious if, I know that there are other points of entry for fans to interact with the NBA. There's social media, and a lot of younger fans, that is how they're experiencing the sport. But I wonder what you think, how much you think about that and how that will shape the next generation of fans.
I think about it a lot. I will say, I saw the story your publication ran of you took all the different streaming services and added them up and what those costs would be. I will say I look at it a little bit differently because most people can only consume so many games. I just want, by way of one example, in these new media deals, we're going from essentially 15 exposures on broadcast television to 75 now. So, to the extent somebody wants to put little rabbit ears on their television, you can still get, therefore, 75 marquee games, in essence, for free in the marketplace. I'd say in addition to that, and this is an ongoing issue for the league, there's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. This is very much a highlights-based sport. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, any service, the New York Times for that matter, to the extent that your content is not behind a paid firewall. There's an enormous amount of content out there. YouTube, by another example, that is advertising based, that consumers can consume.
Interesting answer there by Adam Silver.
Yes.
On multiple ends. I think the fact that a commissioner straight up said, this is a highlights-based sport.
Right.
TikTok, Instagram, he addresses all of that, Twitter. Where some people, he goes, he's aware. A lot of people don't watch the games, but they love watching the highlights when they're scrolling on their timeline. They love seeing the TikTok video. It's 45 seconds of all the dunks and the big highlights from the night before. But also when he talks about the 75 exposures, the 15 exposures. Mm-hmm. Because as we're seeing it across all sports, now with the NBA, it's Amazon, Peacock, ESPN. You can still catch it on cable TV. What did you think of that answer by Adam Silver when he's talking about all the places you could get NBA games, but also kind of, going away from how difficult it could be to watch every game?
My antennas went up immediately. And the reason my antennas went up, because he was talking about antennas, is just, not everybody can afford watching NBA games. Yeah. And everybody, I won't say everybody, but a good majority of the people who watch the NBA are fans of a specific team, right? And they're diehard just like they want to be for any other sport. It brought up this point to me. I was talking to somebody recently who's a Miami Dolphins fan. Now, this is a basketball show, but I got to take it to football a little bit because they are the king of streaming and viewership and all this other stuff, right? They've been a diehard Miami Dolphins fan for years and years and years and years. And they've paid all the stuff. It is what it is. Now, with this new packages, like how the NFL's doing, you got to pay for Peacock and Amazon and YouTube
Netflix.
TV and Netflix, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They were like, after watching that first game this year, my team is so bad and this package is so expensive and confusing to get out. I'm out of it. I'm not watching it. I'll watch the games that come up, and that's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm out. And so the NFL lost somebody who's been a diehard fan.
Because it's too expensive.
Because it's too expensive to go in. And this is a person who is, well off enough where they could make that purchase. They were ready to make it. They were signed up.
And then they probably saw it. They're like, this cost me $500.
Right.
Right around there. It could be less. It could be a little more. They're like 500, like 100, cool. If any way you could look at it, you spread that out over the course of NFL season.
Yes.
$100, 500 is a lot of money.
Right.
It is. And that could go towards so many more things.
So you could be losing a fan, possibly, because they could just be like, I'm out. You never know.
Yeah.
And then also, in turn, you're hurting those small market teams that aren't doing well, like a team that we'll talk about a little bit later in the Charlotte Hornets. You're hurting a team like that who has smaller amount of fans, who hasn't had the success in the league. And they might say, man, this team has been bad. Man, this team hasn't given me anything. I'm going to pay X amount of dollars to watch this team. No, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now the viewership numbers, which we have seen have taken a hit. They have taken a hit over the last couple of years, are going to continue to plummet because you are pricing out your true fans. It's already expensive enough to try to go to a game. We see it here in trying to go to TD Garden. I mean, it is an expensive ticket to try to get here to watch the Celtics play the Charlotte Hornets. Expensive ticket, you know what I'm saying? So at least you would think you would be able to watch from the comfort of your home, easily and available.
It's also, too, where, like, what you're pointing out, it jumped out at me where he goes, this is a highlight-based sport. And I go, man, he's so modern when I hear that. But it was also, he was basically asked, it's really expensive to watch every game. He goes, you can watch it for free on TikTok. Like that, instead of being like, you know what, it is getting too expensive. To your point, we're pricing fans out. And that's where it's like, if you're about the fans, you want to build up the fan base. It's a harsh reality of sports. It's a business. And Adam Silver's job is to take care of the game, but also to have the 30 owners be as happy as possible and maximize the money they make. And that's the TV right deals. That's sending it to Peacock. That's making it cost $600 a season, however we want to put it. Where he straight up goes, like, it's a highlight sport. You can watch on TikTok, Instagram. You can see it on YouTube. Basically, he's like, I don't care if you can't afford to watch the game on the broadcast.
But it also diminishes the product as a whole. Like, think about it from a perspective of somebody like me, right? Growing up as a kid, I needed to be able to watch NBA basketball so that I could start to learn basketball at a high level. Whenever my coaches were like, hey, man, you're not understanding this enough. You need to watch Chris Paul use a ball screen every night. Going on TikTok and watching him use it one time and throw the lob up to DeAndre Jordan back in the day, that's not going to help me understand at a high level what worked for him, what didn't work for him. I need to watch the ins and outs of the game.
And so the context of games, too.
Right. So now when you got your AJ DeBanza, you got your, you know what I'm saying, whoever the next future kid is in Tyron Stokes, right, who's in high school right now. And it might not be that superstar because not everybody's that superstar. It might be the kid who's the Jose Alvarado of the league, the kid who's the Patrick Beverly of the league. Right now trying to indulge in the game because really a lot of your players do come from these non-affluent areas, these places that don't have money. You know what I'm saying? Enough money to go and watch. People they grew up with can't
even watch them.
Right. So now these guys are losing development early on because they don't have access to watching the sport that they're hoping and aspiring to be in one day.
And it's like when he says it's 75 exposures, at first I'm like, okay, does that mean you can watch the local team 75 of their 82 games throughout the regular season? No, he's talking about how every Tuesday there's going to be an NBC/Peacock game. You can watch that with an antenna. Then midway through the season, every Saturday, Sunday, there's the ABC game. So if you're a fan of the Boston Celtics, you're not watching the Celtics 75 times. Now it's the Celtics, so you'll get a good amount of national games. Say it's 10. But like on a Saturday, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I love the Celtics. I'm going to sit down and watch the Hornets take on the Timberwolves. You love hoop, you'll watch that. But as a Celtics fan, that's not what they're going to watch. They can't afford to watch their team every game.
Exactly.
That's what jumped out. And to your point, it's like when he goes on all the TikTok and the YouTube, it's the context of games is so important too because that adds to what makes players great. But we grow up in a world where someone will have highlight reel dunks, could be a good shooter. But if their actual basketball all-around game is trash, but kids will think they're great just because they can make 7 threes a night, right? But that doesn't make you a good basketball player because it's an all-around game.
And the broadcast, these guys are intelligent on the broadcast, you know what I mean? They are helping teach the game, you know what I mean? When you get a Tim Legler who's out here spewing basketball knowledge, you know what I mean? He's teaching these people
you learn from the
game.
Broadcast.
So it's like just seeing the play
TikTok,
happen or whatever, you're not understanding how this player got there. That's what the broadcast analysts are there for. That's why they're paid that money to help make this thing go along. So it's frustrating as a whole, especially when you're having all these great NBA legends that are getting into broadcasting now. You got the Shaqs, you got the, you know what I mean? You got the Del Currys of the world who are, out there, teaching the game to these young kids. You're taking that access away from those players. It sucks for the fan. It sucks for the development of the players in the league, of the guys who are trying to get in the league. All around, it just seems like a bad move for the product of the NBA. It seems like just all about money, 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 and not giving back to the people who are helping you produce that money.
I can't say anything against that because that's spot on. And that's what it is. He basically said, look, you can go on YouTube if you pay for Wi-Fi. You don't have to pay for us. You can watch the highlights of your favorite player. You can watch the hoop highlights, 12-minute highlights instead of sitting down for 2 hours to watch a game.
Yeah.
Instead of saying anything about the costs are rising, I'm going to keep them in check.
Right.
Because when the costs rise, people pay for that. The TV right deals get bigger. The owners get more money.
Yeah,
and that's Adam Silver's priority. And he's getting money too.
He brought up a statement just saying, it's a premium content. But, you got to remember, it's only premium because the fans are watching.
Yes.
And if there's
that viewership number.
Supply and demand. It's basic marketing or business 101.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have to understand that, now that you are increasing the price of these things, there are going to be people that bow out. And if people are bowing out, there's going to be less people on TikTok watching and clamoring to it because they might just be like, I used to watch the NBA. I've heard that so many times since I moved to Boston. Oh, yeah, I used to watch this and this and that, but now, I don't really love the product as much, so I don't watch.
Yeah.
And so now when there's less interest, just like us being in this business, we're going to talk about the things that are interesting. So if basketball is less interesting,
then we talk about it less.
Talk about something else.
It's also, too, for him to say, well, get an antenna, put it on your TV, you can watch 75 exposures. He says that knowing one of the biggest strengths of the NBA.
Yeah.
Who's the best player in the world right now, in your opinion?
In the world right now, probably Jokic.
Okay, who's the second best player?
Probably SGA.
Okay, who's a third?
Giannis.
Who's a fourth?
Tatum.
Okay, who's a fifth?
You
could go with your future GOAT. You could go with your guy if he's fully available.
Who?
Wemby.
Yeah, probably.
4 of the 5 are international guys.
Yeah.
And he knows, you get your antenna, I don't care about you. Is basically what he's saying.
Right.
Because he goes, how many people in France, Greece, Europe all around, and China are going to pay every dollar to get full NBA because they are crazy obsessed with basketball?
Yeah.
That's now his priority. America is locked down. He's got it. Yeah. They've got the American market. Yeah. This is the unfortunate part of this convo. And now he's like, cool, you could say that. Go get your antenna. You got your 75 games national. I don't care. It's not your team. Because I got people overseas that are going to pay.
Do they, though? That's my only question.
That's a good one, too.
Do they?
Yeah.
But
if you grew up where Giannis grew up and you grew up how Giannis grew up, you cannot afford the NBA. Exactly to your point.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. You can't. You can't. Not at all.
Let's talk about this Kawhi Clippers update quickly, man. That was a good combo. We were like, we'll talk about them together, and that's something.
Well, yeah.
Hey, if you guys want to chime in what you think about the NBA, 617-790-0928. Leave a voicemail. Say it's for Hold My Banner.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Throw it out again. They don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
The phone number. Do that. You got it off memory.
617-790-0928. I'll confirm that's the right number, but leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
Say it's for Hold My Banner. Say it's for Tay, and what you think on how it is that you can view the NBA. Easy, difficult, what you think of everything going on in Europe.
Yep.
Leave us a voicemail there. 617-790-0928. Want to say one more time. So I have it right. All right, Pablo Torre found out more. So the quick recap. The Clippers, through Aspiration, which is a company that went under, gave Kawhi Leonard a $28 million contract saying, here's $28 million. We're endorsing you, but you never have to show up and do anything. There's all these outs. The only way you don't get paid is if you're not on the Clippers anymore. Company went under. They still owe Kawhi $7 million. That's why we found out about this. They're allegedly circumventing the salary cap. Steve Ballmer flew to Bristol, Connecticut, spoke on ESPN, said, no, we were doing everything right.
Yep.
Pablo Torre got more. So apparently, late or just right before the company went under, Dennis Wong, who owns 1% of the Clippers, is also Steve Ballmer's college roommate at Harvard going back to 1975, invested $1.99 million into Aspiration. Right before it went under, 1.75 went right to Kawhi Leonard right away. And that 1.75 went to Kawhi on the same day they laid off 20% of the company. Here it is from The Athletic. In 2022, Clippers minority owner Dennis Wong made an almost $2 million investment in Aspiration, which then paid Kawhi 1.75, as required through his endorsement contract with the environmental company, according to the latest allegation. He owns 1% of the Clippers. And that was also, in December, he made that investment. That was his first time ever investing in the company. It went right to Kawhi. And at the time, because of the value of the company, Tay, if that was a serious investment, he would have owned 0.07% of aspiration. That's nothing.
Right.
So if it really mattered, you would have done like 10 million instead. You'd got more than 1%.
Yeah.
Dennis Wong, again, 1% minority owner of the Clippers,
Yep.
former college roommate of Steve Ballmer.
Yep.
It gets fishier.
And his daughter also worked for Aspiration at the time. You know, so
I didn't know that.
It just gets deeper. You know, his daughter worked for the company. A lot of the people that Pablo Torre brought onto the scene as those anonymous people that worked at the company said they knew her and, you know, worked with her. And, you know, she was definitely involved. And so it makes it fishy when you know, Steve Ballmer invested money into the company. They laid off a bunch of people 9 days later. Your daughter works there. She wouldn't understand the magnitude or the direction of the company at that time, at least. And you still chose to invest $2 million right before Kawhi got paid, 9 days before Kawhi got paid?
He invested December 6th. December 15th, Kawhi got paid.
Right.
And think about if a company is hemorrhaging money where they're laying off 20%, they get an investment of $2 million, and right away they're paying Kawhi, but still laying off 20% of the company. No, you'd expect them to take care of their people. What happened at that point was probably Uncle Dennis is picking up the phone, where's my money? Ballmer knows he can't do it because it's too fishy.
Yeah.
And the reason Wong would invest that much money, probably to cover up some other costs.
Yeah.
But basically they're like, yo, we need the cash now. You got to invest it, and it's
Right.
going right to Kawhi. We have to pay Kawhi this money,
Right.
or else something could happen.
Right.
That's what it was. That's in desperate times, something that dumb happens.
It looks a little fishy. I'm not a judge or a jury
Still,
or
everything's
anything
alleged,
like
but-
that. You know, alleged, but book 'em.
Apparently, in the Board of Governors meeting, Adam Silver never publicly mentioned all the allegations against it, too. He's the wealthiest owner.
Yeah.
He's part of the internal audit committee for the NBA that audits other teams.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's also, he's powerful. On the other end, too, it's one of those things where if an owner speaks up, you know, Ballmer could go like, say it to you, really, Ante?
Yeah.
Yeah? Remember when you signed Jalen Brunson?
Right.
Because that's how it'd be. They're all
Right.
doing it.
They're all doing it, and they're all having the conversations, which is why that silence in that room at that governor's meeting that you're talking about was loud in
Yes.
in that situation. No question about it.
Wild. So here was also some updates on the Uncle Dennis. I texted this to you last
yeah.
night. Details stood out, more reports. One is Uncle Dennis asked for ownership stakes outside companies, Toronto Maple Leafs,
Yeah, he's wild.
but with other companies whom the Raptors had a relationship. The Raptors were told they needed to match at least $10 million per year in extra sponsorship income. Teams are allowed to introduce players to team sponsors. They can't negotiate deals.
Yeah.
At one point, a source put it, when told about all the corporate sponsors in Toronto who'd be happy to have Leonard as a pitchman, Uncle Dennis said, we don't want to do anything. And they were like, dude, all right, that's fine, but the sponsors want ads. They want a photo shoot. And he was like, no, we're not doing that.
Nothing.
My question is, when the first reports came out, I honestly wondered if Kawhi knew about any of this. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I honestly did.
Questions. Yeah.
Was Kawhi in these meeting rooms? Because Uncle Dennis can do all this. He was calling owners himself. He was doing everything on his own. Everything he was doing was illegal, by the way, because he's not qualified.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Everything he's allegedly doing is allegedly illegal, by the way, because he is not authorized as an agent or anything like that.
Yeah.
I really think he could have been doing a lot of this without Kawhi knowing.
Hey, man, I would hope that for
But
Kawhi.
when the details get to this point,
I would hope that for Kawhi.
you would hope the guy that is frugal but gets to the point where you're making a lot of money, be like, cool, man, I got this. Like, why would I spoil this?
Right.
Is a hooper. Like, when he played, he was one of the best. You don't get that good going from San Diego State, being with you don't get that good without loving the game. If Kawhi knew about this, man, that shocks me. It's just when it gets to that point, it's like, we don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, because again, it's like, Uncle Dennis, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because then on that end, it could be Kawhi going like, get me this money, but I don't want to go do the shoots, which is kind of matches out with his personality.
I know. My thing about this is I feel like I think Bobby Marks was the one that reported it, that, you know, most of the governors in the NBA don't believe that anything is going to happen to this Clippers team, or like not strict, like these crazy 5 draft
Void the
picks,
contract, $1 million fine, void the first
they don't
round
think
picks.
any of those things are going to happen. So, it's unfortunate, but I'm like, we live in this world where, like, yeah, the wealthy get to do whatever they want, kind of. Like, that's what that's just the honest truth.
6th richest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Richest owner in sports.
If he can cover up anything, if anybody can cover up
Richest owner
anything,
in sports.
he can cover up anything.
Sports, not the NBA.
Right.
In sports.
Sports.
The richest guy. 6th richest person in the world.
Yeah.